Hey guys, Gliscorium here, and I am bringing you the IBA Week 2 battle versus Jazz and the Bristol City Banettes. This week I have brought Flygon, Miltank, Charizard, Reuniclus, Sork, Mismagius, and he has brought Escavalier, Landorus Incarnate, Volcanion, Komodo, Shaman, and the Thundurus. Now, this week I have specially defensive Flygon to switch into the Volcanion in the Sun, where it only takes 25% from a flamethrower and takes less than 20% from a steam eruption. And I also have special defensive Miltank to switch in on Shamans really well and get obviously a Sap Sipper boost, and then it can put in a huge dent to his team with Body Slam and Fire Punch combination. I also have Charizard this week as it completely decimates his team once the Volcanion is dead. And this week I'm definitely going to try and get the rocks as soon as I can to put pressure on that Thundurus and that Volcanion on their switch-ins. I also have Reuniclus, which is a Calm Mind set this week to set up on either the Shaman or the Thundurus, and it can put in a huge dent to his team. I also have Sork this week, which is Choice Scarf Sork, which can put in a huge dent to his team. With Ice Punch, it kills 4 of his members right there, and with Close Combat, it can kill the other 2 members. And last but not least this week is Mismagius, Life Orb Mismagius, which can put a huge dent to his team with the combination of Dazzling Gleam, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Ball. So guys, let's get straight on into the battle. This week, I lead with the Miltank to try and get out rocks as soon as possible and start going for Fire Punches and Body Slams on his team. He also leads with his Rocker and sets up rocks turn 1, and then turn 2 he switches out into the Escavalier. This is fine for me, as I can just go for the Fire Punch on the next turn, putting in a huge dent to the Escavalier, but he actually has the Occa Berry, which is a really good thing for him, and he goes for the knockoff and gets the crit. Now, this crit is really important because if he didn't get that, I would have just gone for the Fire Punch on the next turn, but he actually gets the crit, so I go for the Milk Drink, and his Mega Horn does over 50%, which is really scary for me, so I go for the Fire Punch on the next turn as he switches into Lando, and he goes for the Superpower. Now, I was expecting the Superpower, however, I didn't really have a great switch into this thing, as it could have gone for the Earthquake, which would have decimated the Reuniclus, and I didn't want to really risk that. I go for the Calm Mind, and as he switches into a Escavalier, and I go for the Shadow Ball the next turn. Now, this roll was actually in my favour, and unfortunately, I don't roll to kill the Escavalier. Now, that kind of sucks for me, but it's okay because I can start recovering up on the Landorus as he attacks me. He goes for the Earthquake here, which he thought was a roll, but it actually wasn't because of my set. It's max defense, max HP, which means I can live an Earthquake from 50%. Really well. And he goes for the Rock Slide as I go for another recover, and he gets the Flinch. Now this Flinch is so important because that means I have to switch out. I can't stay in. So I switch out into Flygon, which obviously is immune to the Earthquake, and he goes for the Superpower on the next turn. Now this Superpower play was really good by him because I thought he would just switch out, so I just went for the Dragon Claw. But since he went to the Superpower, I should have gone for the Roost, because that would have been the safest play. He would have given it -1 attack, and then I could go for the Dragon Claw the next turn. But he actually does that, and the next turn he brings in the Shaman, and I just go into the Charizard as it can easily take a Grass-type stab attack, and only take about 20%. And he actually misses the Seed Fly, which is really good for me. So I go for the Flamethrower as he switches out into Volcanion, and that damage is really important because that puts him in range of a Sork Earthquake. Now, he goes for the Steam Eruption as I switch into Flygon. Now, I should have gone for the Roost here, but I thought he would switch out into Shaman. So I decided to go for the Defog, which is a huge misplay, because although now the Charizard can switch in without taking 50% more damage, it also gives him a free switch back into Volcanion, a free switch into the Thundurus. Now, I go for the Earthquake here, and it does not kill. And that is so unfortunate for me since I got a low roll, meaning that now the Sork loses its Sturdy, and that is really bad for me. Now, I switch into the Reuniclus to take the Thundurus's attack, and I end up dying to the Thundurus, and he goes into the Komodo. Now this is a great opportunity for me to go into my Life Orb, Miss Mages, and go for the Dazzling Gleam to one-shot that Komodo. It just got transferred to another dimension, and now he goes into the Shaman. Now I go into the Charizard as it's a free switch. It could take a Seed Flare that you might want to go for, and he actually goes for the Z move, and I was so scared when he went for the Z move, but it actually ended up being Twinkle Tackle, which is fine for me. I can take that hit really well and go for the Flamethrower on the next turn, killing his Shaman. Now the Thundurus comes in, and I think this is an easy game 1. I can go into the Sword, go for a nice punch, putting him in range of a Shadow Ball from Miss Mages, but he ends up being Scarfed, which is an amazing bring on his part, since he can go for the Scarf Thunderbolt on my Sword, finishing it off, and then he can go for the Thunderbolt, 2 Thunderbolts on my Miss Mages, finishing that off. Now, Jazz played really, really well this week, and he definitely deserved this win, as now he is 1-1 in the IBA Week 2 match, and I go down to 1-1. Next week, I'm versing the Memphis Boers, and odds are, so he'd better be ready.